my own way, with never looking back to this world lived in fear. There was nothing I could do, there was nothing you said that could make me realize how much lucky I was. Just out of reach of the fire, was not aware of the nightmare. But when I stopped to see through light, begging for help, begging for hope, just need to open my eyes now to try to change them to sunshine, to be someone among us.
Muted.
Oh, not only was I muted, I was getting a little bit of the loop. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Monday night. It is 6:30 p.m. and it's time for the locker room breakdown. Yes, we are coming to you a little bit early tonight because we're going to do something a little bit different. Tonight is a SummerSlam predictions show. I am joined by the crew of the SmackDown security detail, Mr. Chris Best, and the host of the Chris Parrish podcast, Mr. Chris Parrish. Gentlemen, it's great to have you both back here on the show tonight. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. I'm a little annoyed at things, but doing well.
Yeah.
I'm doing as well as I can. And you also were part of the Raw Patrol, where you can find us out after this program.
Yes. Yes, this is true. So, gentlemen, tonight, normally we'd be covering what happened last week on Raw and then covering tonight. But tonight we're going to do SummerSlam predictions. Our thoughts, our previews, and if we have some other ideas, then maybe we can touch on the Raw preview a little bit later. Hulkster, good evening to you, my friend. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for all the hard work you put in behind the scenes for us here at LRB. Let's start off with night one, and I'm not going in any particular order because we don't have a particular order. World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk and Gunther.
Yeah. I said it yesterday. I firmly believe that this is the right time to pull the trigger on CM Punk winning a championship. I do think we all felt that Gunther defeating Jey Uso felt really rushed and unexpected. And we all kind of come to know that that was part to help with the Goldberg retirement match at Saturday night's main event. But I firmly believe this is the right time for CM Punk to hold that title because the storyline you have going with Bronson, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, and the eventual time Seth Rollins does come back, I think that's too strong. And then you can move maybe Gunther to SmackDown if there's either a draft or if that's just where the plans lie.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go CM Punk as well. I think it's about time they pull the trigger on Punk and put the belt on him. Let him have that run for several months. Then when Seth Rollins makes his return, he does the cash in the night he makes his return.
Okay. I am with you guys on this one. I do think that now is the right time to pull the trigger on CM Punk. But I think it also is going to be a big factor as to whether we know if Seth is legitimately injured or if this is an angle, as we have been hearing. And do we get that Seth Rollins coming out and trying to prevent CM Punk from winning the championship?
I don't know where you've been hearing Seth Rollins' injury as an angle because he's legit hurt.
Okay.
He has been spotted going on crutches, even when he's on personal walks with his daughter. So I can't see him faking that or pretending to go that far. However, this is 2025. We just never know how far people are willing to go anymore. But I do like your idea, Best, about when he does return and Punk is champion, cashing in could be the right time, especially if it prevents maybe CM Punk main eventing night 2 of WrestleMania. That would be interesting.
Right. But could Paul Heyman play a factor in this, in having a Braun or Bronson come out to potentially try and cost him the title on Seth Rollins' orders?
I think that's very highly possible.
Yeah, there is some plausibility there.
What if Gunther ends up being the next Paul Heyman guy? What we haven't seen him and Kaiser for such a long time, and with Seth being out, everybody talks about the future. Everybody has put Gunther in that conversation for being the future of pro wrestling and WWE. What if Gunther ends up being the next Paul Heyman guy?
Okay. I have another theory on the next Paul Heyman guy, which I'll share when we get to our reported main event for night one.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have the WWE Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill.
This is Jade's moment to shine. As much as I love Tiffy, it's Jade time.
Okay.
I think Jade's the one that takes it. I did originally predict that Naomi was going to cash in on Jade, but I think this is where Jade takes it, and maybe we move on to her and Bianca. And I don't know how we move on to that, but that's where I think we could go.
Yeah, and if you really want to make Tiffany Stratton a less stale of a babyface, that's been something that has been going around. Is the Tiffany Stratton character really getting over from a babyface angle? I don't think anybody can say she's a heel anymore. I think she's 100% a babyface, but is the act getting stale? Is she a Charlotte Flair light? I've been hearing that. I don't think she has, but what if this is the way for Bianca Belair to not just help Jade Cargill win, but also Naomi retain? And this was the whole master plan to begin with, to form this trio back together with all the gold. I'd be very curious, but I also wouldn't rule out a Nia Jax involvement. I do think this is Jade Cargill's time, and I think she has been very well, I don't want to say protected, but groomed to become one of the top female draws in WWE. And I have a feeling this match by itself is going to surprise a lot of people. But again, I have Jade Cargill winning as well because of the fact it's time to really rev up. And what better time than SummerSlam on the historic 2-night event.
Right. And I'm staying with Tiffany Stratton retaining because of Bianca Belair, because Naomi has moved to Raw. She cashed in and won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think this is now how you reintroduce Bianca into that storyline with Jade, and you get Bianca coming out and costing her the title. And that way you can continue forward with that program and let Tiffany, but to your point, I'm with, is Tiffany getting stale? I don't think so, but I don't feel that she is a true 100% babyface. I'm finding that she is still a tweener because I hear it in her promos. I see it in her matches. There's still those heelish tactics that she is using and saying.
But do you hear it when the crowd cheers for her?
With the crowd, no. But what I see from her specifically is she's a tweener.
I mean, to be fair, the crowd still sings that Seth Rollins theme song, and he is 100% a heel.
Yeah.
But back to you, Bess. Or OMD.
Third up here for night one, we have Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez of the Judgment Day versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss.
I think that let's just give a little bit of a clap to WWE for finally establishing that the women tag titles matter and putting them on a big PLE like SummerSlam, but also giving them a storyline to go with this. We're finally understanding that the tag titles with the women go on Raw and SmackDown, as a SmackDown tag team is challenging a Raw tag team for these titles. I can go one of two ways. I have a feeling Judgment Day as a whole can completely blow up, or I find that they could be stronger than ever. It all really depends on this one person, Liv Morgan. Is she ready to come back? And does she come back to take out Roxanne Perez or to help Roxanne Perez. And I think that is a bigger storyline than whether or not Alexa Bliss or Charlotte are even friends or are they truly enemies, because that can go either way as well. I don't think Liv Morgan is back just yet, so that is why I have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss being tag champions, just so we can get these titles spread across both brands a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you on that one, Parrish. I think it is going to be Alexa and Charlotte, solely for the fact that I feel like the Judgment Day may be coming in and overlooking these two as a team, because let's face it, Charlotte and Alexa are not as established, but at the same time, Raquel and Roxanne are not that established as a team either. So I am gonna go with Alexa and Charlotte based off the fact that there is a will they or won't they, or are they friends? Are they not friends? But that could bite the Judgment Day in the end there.
Yeah. I do think that we are going to pull the trigger on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte becoming the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And I think that you are going to see that quote-unquote friendship alliance truly blossom in this match. I like where you were coming from with Liv Morgan. Is she ready to come back? We saw a couple of years ago how invaluable Dakota Kai was to Damage Control. Even though she was off injured, she was still there in the corner. And why did the WWE not pull the trigger on the same thing with Liv Morgan? So could Liv Morgan come back and cost Raquel and Roxanne, being that jealous member who now feels like she's been replaced in the Judgment Day? Or does she come back and reassert herself as the overall quote-unquote leader of the Judgment Day?
Yeah, because one thing I talked about yesterday was, what if Liv Morgan comes back and says, okay, I approve this. We haven't seen a lot of Roxanne and Dominic kind of stuff. Maybe Roxanne knows her quote-unquote place in the Judgment Day. So she comes because she enjoys them keeping the tag titles. They kept the tag titles in Judgment Day. And then maybe she can go and focus her ways to maybe an Intercontinental Championship, to add yet one more championship to Judgment Day, or even that Women's Championship that we'll get to later on.
Mm-hmm.
Another match that right now has the potential to maybe not happen due to extenuating circumstances. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll and Randy Orton.
Start with you, Bess.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the celebrity route, in that the celebrity always wins the match, and I'm gonna go with Jelly Roll taking the pin on Logan Paul, because, and I'm basing this off what Parrish and I had talked about not too long ago, where Randy Orton or Drew McIntyre don't need to take the pinfall, and you can do something. You can continue on with something between the two of them if neither of them take that pinfall. So I'm going to go with Jelly Roll pinning Logan Paul and taking the win for him and Randy on this one.
Yeah, and I'll go to your wording for one. May or may not happen. That's because Drew McIntyre has having passport issues and is stuck right now in England. There are reports, though, that is going to be completely resolved, and he will be at SummerSlam. The question is, will he be at Raw or SmackDown? I think that's a bigger question. Because if he's at one of those, we know our answer for SummerSlam. But we also saw The Miz take to his social media account and put his name in as if Logan Paul needs a partner. Now, that very well could happen if Drew McIntyre doesn't get his passport issue resolved. But last time Logan Paul and The Miz were in a ring, The Miz turned on him. However, they do have history. They're both Cleveland born. Logan Paul did start with The Miz, so it remains to be seen. But if you want a prediction from me, I'm going to go with the route of Logan Paul defeating Jelly Roll, because I have a feeling Jelly Roll is not a one-and-done case, and I think we very well could set up for a Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul singles match at WrestleMania, where Jelly Roll gets his win back, and I'd be okay with that because at least there's a story. Logan Paul is not going for a title.
Mhm.
Right. This is the match that I'm probably least looking forward to, but we also know to expect the unexpected in these celebrity showcase matches. And it was an interesting way, the way this started with Logan Paul interrupting the concert and saying, we don't need these social media influencers and all of this, knowing full well that that's where he came from, coming into the company. I do think that in this situation that Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre need the win more. I actually wish that it was Logan Paul in a one-on-one match with somebody at SummerSlam, because he just had a tag team match with John Cena at Money in the Bank. Now he's going to this. I'm also going to pose this, is do we see a heel Randy Orton come out of this match if he RKO's Jelly Roll at the end of the match? Do we get that similar thing like The Miz did to Logan Paul a couple of years ago? And do we get the Randy turn?
I'm going to say no, because right now I think there's more volume with babyface Randy at the current moment. And I really think the main event picture might actually need Randy as a babyface for at least the next 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Mm.
We also have Cross versus Zayn 3.
Yeah, this might be the one match that, as much as we are very excited to see Karrion Kross at a major PLE, and there has been a storyline, I think the investment on the storyline is overshadowed by the want of Karrion Kross on a PLE. And because of that, I'm not personally involved or invested in this match as much as I'd like to be, because I know they're going to put on a good match.
Right.
But I just saw it recently, and I think that is a big issue to do I want to see it again, because at one point we know they're tied 1-1, but on the second point, does it really matter who wins? Because Karrion Kross has already said, I don't care if I win or lose. I just want Sami Zayn to tell the truth. So the big question is, does Sami Zayn ever tell the truth in Karrion Kross's eyes and that Kross is right? Or does he stand on his own moral code and move on? And I think that is a bigger question mark that we should be asked, is does Sami Zayn's moral code affect his quest to be champion?
Best.
Yeah, I get where you're going, Parrish, and I like that. This is the third match in their trilogy. They're tied one apiece. I kind of want something to be on the line in this case, like whether the winner gets a shot at we'll say the Intercontinental title or whatever. I kind of just need something just a little bit more to make me, like, I already do care about this match, but give me something a little bit more to make me more invested into this match.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
think, but as far as my prediction goes, I think Sammy probably takes the win here.
Okay. You guys are right. Like, what is the end game with this match? I don't think you need a number one contenders match, but I do think this whole thing has been overshadowed. And what is the end game of all of this? We know that Kross says he wants it to be Sami saying he was right. What does Sami gain from it? I am going to take Karrion Kross for the win in an upset on a PLE. I know we just saw it at Night of Champions where he lost. And then he won last week on Raw, so now we're getting this payoff. But where's the direction after that for either of those men?
Yeah. I just realized I didn't say my prediction, and I do think Sami Zayn could be a well high-end selection for the Royal Rumble, and because of that, I do think momentum should be on his side in the very least. I do pick him. But one thing I do think we could see out of this, if not Gunther, it could very well be Karrion Kross being the next Paul Heyman guy, and it would make a very common thread that Sami Zayn joins Jey Uso and Roman Reigns on the fight against them.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to my pick for the next Paul Heyman guy with our reported main event: Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed.
Let's just start with you then.
All
we
right.
might as well.
So again, I said earlier with the CM Punk Gunther match, it depends on if Seth Rollins is there and what they're going to do. I am taking Braun and Bronson to win. If you want to truly establish them as credible, dominant heels, they need this win. But we asked on Friday during the security detail what to do with L.A. Knight. And I think you could see him with that void in leadership at the top, as Paul Heyman referenced last week on Raw. L.A. Knight comes out. He causes a distraction and then says, if you can't beat him, lead him.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me in my head. LA Knight is completely over right now, and if the rumors are true for a certain heel turn later on in the weekend, you kind of need somebody else to be that top babyface, whether they're going to be the secondary babyface or the top babyface. LA Knight could easily be that guy. But being that this is Roman's return match, I'm going to go with Roman and Jey, because they're still this feud is still going to continue regardless of who wins or not, because I feel like at Fashion Paris, we're going to see these four split off into two singles matches where Roman's probably going to go up against Braun, Jey against Bronson. But I feel like it's going to be Roman and Jey to take this one. Because if this is the main event of night one, you might want something to end off on a happy note.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Braun Breaker pinning Roman Reigns here. And the reason is I think, like Beth said, this is going to go on. But usually when things go on in terms of Roman Reigns, he's usually the one getting the pin. However, in those cases, it was Roman Reigns, usually the heel.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time where the script has been switched. And now Roman Reigns is the crowd favorite alongside Jey Uso. We've been getting the seeds for Braun and Roman. We've been getting a lot of Roman hitting Bronson Reed. Tonight we have on Raw Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. So I don't know if we get that singles match so much soon. Although we just did talk about Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. I think the big match here is Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns. They're clearly pushing Braun Breaker as the main guy in that group now with Seth Rollins out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a win over Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, one of the biggest actually the biggest SummerSlam in company history, that's a very good flag for Braun Breaker to have in his repertoire moving forward. And that's why I think he gets the win over Roman Reigns, because that's a statement made.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Little more context on my turn for LA Knight. He can be frustrated with, again, coming up short at Money in the Bank. All of the times, like, he has been this most over baby face for no payoff. So he can come in there. This is his opportunity to get that payoff, potentially at some point get that belt, even though we know that it is looking like Braun Breaker is that main guy. This is the opportunity for you to put a belt on LA Knight, garner some credible heat. I've also been hearing and reading reports of, does Jey Uso turn on Roman again? And I'm not buying into that. If we're going to get that, Jey Uso is still our most over babyface in the WWE at this point in time. So I think that LA Knight turning would be a fantastic move. And him and Heyman together on the mic would be cinema. So we're going to move on to night 2, and let's start it off with a match that we just found out on Friday. We think that this is going to go on Sunday, and that is a TLC for the WWE Tag Team Championships. We have the Wyatts, we have the Motor City Machine Guns, we have DIY, we have the Street Profits,
And Fraxium.
and there's one other team, isn't there?
Motor City Machine Guns.
No, Andrade and Ray Phoenix.
Yes. So yes, 6 teams. 6 teams in a TLC match when we're used to seeing 3.
Yeah, but we've also seen 3 teams be a part of the last ladder match. We're running it back. Nick Aldis clearly stated that if we're going to do this again, we're up in the stakes. We're going to add tables, we're going to add ladders, we're going to have chairs. This is clearly the big payoff to what we've gotten all year, and that is the tag division getting its closure before, whether it's a draft or whether it's movement on the brands, before that happens. And there is a change to that tag division. This is their time to truly say, hey, on a huge stage like SummerSlam, what can you guys cap off this amazing run with the tag titles that has earned your way on to a SummerSlam PLE when everybody wanted a ladder match at WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great time for DIY to sneak away with the titles, therefore claiming that they have saved the tag team division and not having to deal with the Wyatt 6. But with the Wyatt 6 and DIY now kind of being on the heelish side of things, I wouldn't even be surprised if a dark horse like Ray Phoenix and Andrade win here.
Okay.
But in my heart of hearts, I'd love the Street Profits to reclaim their championships.
Okay.
Yeah, and Parrish has just said the exact reason why I think it's DIY that takes the tag titles, because they've been championing wanting to save the tag team division
Right.
for the last month and a half now, and they've been known to be a bit on the sneaky side. And I kind of just want to see Tommaso Ciampa standing in the locker room doing interviews, hugging the tag titles like he's never ever going to let them go. But on the flip side too, when you look at the Wyatt 6, yeah, it's going to be Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis, but now they've also got to worry about Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan and even Nikki Cross getting involved in this match too. So
Yep.
but the same thing could be said for DIY. I mean, Candice LeRae could very well find her way trying to take out Nikki Cross if Nikki Cross gets involved. For the Street Profits, BFAB could very well find her way in there, and then those 3 women trying to take each other out in that match. It's going to be complete insanity, but I think DIY is going to be the one that sneaks away with it.
Okay. I really don't want to see the Wyatts drop the belts just yet. It feels like we just put the belts on them. But I do think that with their overall experience, their experience in all of this, I think the one team that truly does deserve it, because they got really shoved to the back burner after they lost the tag titles, is the Motor City Machine Guns. And unless you're moving them to Raw, they need to be at the forefront of the tag division. Now, I think that a move to Raw for them would be great, as they could accelerate that tag division build. But I got to go with the Guns to win this one.
I mean, with the TLC, anybody's ball game. We've once seen Zack Ryder win a multi-person ladder match to become Intercontinental Champion when nobody thought he was going to do that. We've seen some of the most underrated people win, or unexpected, not underrated.
Right.
In a ladder match, anyone can win.
I was going to suggest, we discussed the situation with Drew McIntyre a little bit ago. Could you see perhaps Andrade get taken out before the match or before the show, and Ray Phoenix needs a new partner, and that's where you get the Lucha Brothers?
See, that just sounds like you're just replaying what they did with Lyra and Becky. at WrestleMania.
Okay.
So I don't think that's really the case, but it would be cool to see.
I mean, it's not like we haven't seen WWE use the same ideas before.
Mhm.
But
But never, I don't think really in multiple pay-per-views within 1 year.
go back and watch Royal Rumbles. I will hit the nail on that one with both the men and women's rumbles at times. But just to kind of go at that one point, because I know a lot of people would like to see the Lucha Brothers in WWE, but at the same point, Andrade has been really brought back, and you're not going to just shove him to the waistline in a huge opportunity like this last minute when we know that Triple H has always been a big fan of Andrade. I just can't see them doing this to Andrade. The amount of give Andrade a chance or what would absolutely go. The amount of tribalism online would be absolutely astronomical. Now, I don't think this would be the reason why a creative change would be a thing, but my change is Andrade and Rey Fenix have put themselves in this position. At the very least, give them the flowers of delivering in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think they need help right now.
Right. United States Championship Steel Cage match. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Best?
I'm gonna go Jacob Fatu finally gets the win. This is gonna be just brutality at its best inside this cage. I am curious about how Solo's boys try to get in, because there is going to be a point in the match where they're all going to try and get in. I'm also wondering if this is when the other Tonga brother comes back.
Tama Tonga?
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't remember which one was hurt and which one was back. Yeah, is this where Tama Tonga comes back, and what kind of factor does he play in this match? But I think I'm going to go with Solo or Jacob.
Okay. Parrish?
Yeah, and almost for the exact same reason, I think this has been a situation where what we know of Jacob Fatu is he doesn't care about the odds being stacked against him. He's going to always keep going and keep fighting regardless. We do know that Jim Uso, Big Jim, is on his side. But is that enough? Is that enough to counter everyone over on Solos? All the MFTs? I think this match is designed for Solo to sneak away with this because it's a cage match. You can win with pinfall, climbing over, or the door. And I think that's where we're going to see Solo Sikoa sneak his way out and still get that win and retain his title, simply because I do think there is something larger. I think we can all admit this is not going to end this weekend. This is going to continue. So something bigger will be happening. Plus, we also have to factor in, is Jacob Fatu really the one that needs the U.S. title? Or maybe, just maybe, if he stays on SmackDown, is that U.S. title more needed for somebody like Jim Uso?
Right. I know I'm hearing reports that they are planning to move Jimmy to Raw potentially after SummerSlam. Best, you raised a good point. Do we get Tama Tonga returning? And in this case, I think what you're going to see to get the MFTs in the ring, instead of somebody trying to go up and over and have them stop that way, I think you're going to see that cage get lifted. And then they're going to be able to dive in and sneak underneath to then try and lock Jacob Fatu in there with them. On the other hand, I'm really interested to see, do they do something that we haven't seen in a while and see a section of the ring get pulled down, and that's how you bring Tama Tonga back. Have him sneak up from under the ring.
Well, another thought I had is there could be a spot in the match where Jacob Fatu say he's going for the door. The rest of Solo's, the MFTs are down. But then we see like somebody again in a mask, just like Yeah. Anyways,
Tongaloa.
Tongaloa, thank you. Just like when we've seen Tongaloa make his return, do we see somebody in a mask come up and slam that door on Jacob Fatu's head?
Right. See, and I was going to go the other way because Solo has said these are my MFTs. My family is complete. So do we get Tama Tonga coming back now to help Jacob? Because we did see a while back that he was sort of torn between the two and didn't know where to put his allegiance. And I think those words from Solo show me where Tama's allegiance lies, and that should be with Jacob Fatu. And that can continue on that rivalry, depending on whether you're going to then potentially debut a Lance Anoa'i or sign a Zilla Fatu. So I'm actually going to take Solo to retain, but I think it's going to be absolute chaos, and I think that this is going to absolutely further the story. We know Jacob doesn't need the title, and Jacob is as over as a Jey Uso. So Jacob is going to be fine with eating another loss in this situation.
And I think one thing to doubt is there's a way to lose this match without being pinned. A way to be generally really screwed here. And that just gives you an out for Solo Sikoa to not lose the championship. However, it opens the door, pun intended, for anything to help Jacob Fatu as well. Because what from Jacob Fatu's past could be re-entering his present, but entering WWE's future. I think that is something to really, truly ask in this case.
Best onto what is probably your sleeper match of the weekend for the Intercontinental Championship. AJ Styles and Dom Mysterio.
This is going to be the most entertaining match of the weekend for me personally. I've been going back and forth on who I think could take the win. I would love to see AJ with an Intercontinental title run, but I just can't get past how sneaky and Eddie Guerrero like Dominic can be. So I'm picking Dominic to take the win on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, if we saw AAA just this past weekend, we saw Dominic Mysterio show up, and we heard how insanely loud that crowd was. He held both the Intercontinental Championship as well as the AAA title. And there is something to say about Dominic Mysterio doing the same, but on a Raw or SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see Dominic Mysterio once again slime his way out the way he slimed his way into the Intercontinental title picture. But I have a feeling Finn Balor is going to play a huge part on whether he wins or loses. And right now, with Judgment Day holding gold on all accounts, I expect a slip up. I just don't think it's Dominic Mysterio slipping up. I'm going to call new tag champs on Raw, and that's the beginning of the slip up.
Okay. And I'm going to go, I actually have AJ Styles winning based on what we saw this past weekend at AAA with Dom sneaking in there and, of course, getting himself put into a fatal four-way world title match at Triple Mania. I think AJ, being the veteran that he is, we've seen him fend this stuff off from the Judgment Day before. Does he have something else up his sleeve? Who knows? But I do have AJ winning. You brought up Liv Morgan earlier when we were discussing the women's tag team titles. Could, again, this be where she comes back because she's upset with Dom and Roxy, even though Dom on screen has always been tentative about it? And does she cost him?
I'm not too sure if Liv is going to get involved in AJ Styles simply because AJ Styles does not have a female to help him out.
Right.
Mhm.
But what we do know, and this is another long-term reason why, is if AJ Styles loses, you can move him to a SmackDown, and if just if you have a major turn or storyline going over there, AJ Styles represents a very valid option for a male chase over on SmackDown for the world title, because I just don't know if he has it on Raw. I also don't see what an Intercontinental title right now does for AJ Styles. I think a win over AJ Styles at SummerSlam does more for Dominic Mysterio than the win for Dominic, or for a win for AJ Styles. But the big question mark I'm going to flat out ask, because we saw him at the Mexico live event, does Rey Mysterio show up or not?
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason I'm going Dom as well is because I feel like I don't feel like this is the end. I don't feel like this is Dom wins and then he moves on to the next challenger. I feel like AJ somewhere down the line, maybe at Clash in Paris, gets a rematch against Dom. And again, that's all depending on what the draft says.
Right.
Yeah.
If there is a draft.
Yeah.
And I'm going straight up for what we have right now. The Judgment Day are against the LWO for the tag titles.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it make sense for the Judgment Day and Rey Mysterio, the founder who brought back the LWO, to clash over the Intercontinental Championship, say maybe
Mhm.
in Paris? Oh, I loved how I just did that, by the way.
You know, if we want to go long-term storytelling, when the Judgment Day first formed under Edge and it was Damian and Rhea, AJ was battling them. Who were his two partners with them?
Finn and Liv.
Yeah.
So do we get, that's where I'm getting, do we get that Liv Morgan coming back, costing Dom? You suggested Finn Balor could potentially play that factor as well. Do we go to that route again and get Finn and AJ with Liv back together, reforming a new club?
Well, he could do the same over on SmackDown with the Certain Nightmare.
Yes, he could.
Mm-hmm.
Or with a certain Tongan who's hurt. I mean, they pretty much hired everyone.
Right?
Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So
Yep.
Right.
it's all legitimately relativing. And I mean that as the pun on the bloodline.
So, a match I missed discussing here, and that is the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria.
Well, there's no way you should miss that one, because this match is going to absolutely deliver just the way they always do. There is not a bad match between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at all. And this is going to be absolutely intriguing, because the one person we haven't talked about is the one person that still has not fully lost their own shot for the Intercontinental Championship, and that is Bayley. What role, if any, does she have in this match? I would not be shocked if we see some sort of either involvement or inclusion. Now, do they need it? I don't know. But it's no count out and no disqualifications. And that's where it gets very tricky for me, because that's always a gold medal to something's going to happen. There's always something there. But I feel this is where we see Bayley completely give it to Becky Lynch and help out her old former tag team partner, because remember, it was Becky Lynch who put the stab in the back of both Becky and Bayley. And how full circle would it be if Bayley and Lyra teamed up together the way it should have been from the start and took out Becky? And that's why I think we could see Becky and Bayley post without the Intercontinental Championship, we put the title back on Lyra, and then if she comes back, how fresh would a Lyra versus Liv Morgan feud be? Or maybe it's Stephanie Vecchio, or maybe it's someone else like Io. But how fresh would all that be?
That would be beautiful, and I would love to see it. Best, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm once again with Parrish on this one, because I'm looking at it like one of those rulings where it always seems to happen, because this is also Lyra's last chance. If Lyra loses, she doesn't get a shot as long as Becky holds the title. And it's usually in one of these storylines where that challenger ends up winning the title. So I'm going to pick Lyra in that sense. Now, I know when Cody had his match in AEW where he lost, he would never challenge for the title. They actually kept with that, and now he's no longer a part of that promotion, so he can't challenge for that belt. But this is WWE, and I think this is where Lyra gets her moment to shine.
Okay. So you raised a great point, Parrish, on where does Bayley factor in. And in this case, I think this is a match where we're not going to see any interference. I think we have the no DQ, no count out. The match has to have a winner, and it is Lyra's last chance. But I think, again, depending on where you go with the draft, and we've seen this new anger and attitude out of Lyra, I think you're going to get a heel turn, but I do think she is going to move on to SmackDown, and then we're going to get Lyra and Julia for the U.S. title. It may also be time for Lyra to move on to that world title picture and challenge a Naomi, an Io Sky, or Rhea Ripley when the time comes. So I don't think Lyra needs to get the Intercontinental belt back. Becky really helped put a shine on it, but the WWE smartened up and started including it really a lot on PLEs and giving Lyra all those defenses to help boost the credibility of that title. So Lyra, I don't think needs it. I am going to take Becky Lynch in a clean win, even though it's a no DQ match. Up next.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was going to say, wouldn't you be doing Lyra a little dirty there, though? Like, because this is really the end all of their. If Lyra loses, she won't challenge, right?
Yeah.
But if Lyra wins, she's pretty much solidified her streak against Becky. She'd be, 3-1 in this case? So, I agree with you that Lyra did a great job of bringing the title to something, and then Becky really gave it a new spot. But this is exactly the same thing you did with Lyra, though. You build Lyra up to this star to where on the microphone she delivers, in the ring she delivers, she's ready. But at the same time, she's also ready to give new life to the Intercontinental Championship and make it a must-watch title, which it is already. And that's because of her and now Becky. And I think this could just be a form of Becky did what she's been doing lately, and that is working with people and bringing them up. And we've seen this with whether it was Rhea Ripley and just that final nail in the coffin. We've seen it with Zoe Stark. We've even seen it with other people in the past. And I think this is the time where you got to really look, does the Intercontinental Championship, does it evolve with Becky Lynch, or does it evolve the way Lyra Valkyria will be involved or evolving?
Yeah.
On to my pick for the match of the weekend, and that is the triple threat for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Naomi defending the title against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky.
Can you pick a winner in this one, Best?
I've been having a hard time with this one, but because Naomi just won the title, so I don't really want to see her drop the title. So I think I'm going to go Naomi. But I'm at the same time, like, whoever wins this match gets Stephanie Vaquer. So, like, I'm trying to think of who the more money match is for Clash in Paris. And at that same time, I don't know if it's Naomi and Stephanie as the more money match. I think Rhea and Stephanie has more value under it. So, you know what? I'm gonna pick Rhea. I'm gonna take Rhea to take this one because I do feel like there's more money in Stephanie versus Rhea at Clash in Paris than Naomi and Stephanie.
Now, I said it when they did Evolution that I felt they were going to go Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vaquer Clash in Paris. And then they decided we're going to screw with your amazing prediction streak over at Evolution. We're going to have Naomi come and cash it in. Or else I think I would have absolutely hit 100 on that one. I have a feeling Naomi is pitting Io Sky to retain this title, and I have a feeling that we're going to see something really come into play. I have a feeling she is, again, I think this is the perfect time to really bring Bianca in as a heel. Even if you don't do it with Jade, do it with Naomi. And then you have this, oh my God, moment. Because why not have the actual time where Rhea defeats Io in Clash in Paris? You can have Naomi with steam going over or going up against Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer, I think she might be more prone to be the next women's champion than a Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. But the question is, do you do it now or do you wait? And I think that's kind of the big deal. But I think right now, Naomi, you wouldn't have put the money in the bank on her if you didn't have a plan to really use her. And that's why I think this is the big get, unless you flip these women titles during the draft and that brings a new champion or at SummerSlam. But then you're keeping Naomi, who's now a Raw superstar, by the way. You put Bianca and Jade on the same brand. You're muted, OMD.
You guys raised some valid points, and I was tossing and turning on this one. And I have Naomi retaining, and I think that you're going to see Bianca Belair on both nights. She's going to get involved in Tiffany and Jade, allowing Tiffany to retain. She's going to do the same thing to really cement that heel turn and align herself with Naomi. Even though she is currently a SmackDown superstar, along with Jade, that's going to add that much more fuel onto that fire. And then I think you can actually still build, because I don't think a Clash in Paris, a loss would hurt Stephanie Vaquer, or even a win by DQ over Naomi, because Bianca gets involved in that situation as well, being Naomi's homegirl.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you let Naomi cook with the title for a bit. I didn't have her in my predictions for Evolution. I was expecting somebody else. I was not expecting Naomi to come out. So I think you need to let Naomi cook with the title for a little longer and wait until a Rumble or a WrestleMania for that title change. And again, the draft plays a huge factor in all of this. And if and when, because I've said, I think that Rhea Ripley needs to move over to SmackDown, and you've got a whole new wave of rivalries for her with Julia, with Tiff, with Nia. But I also think that with Tiffany solidifying hers, or with Bianca solidifying a heel turn and aligning with Naomi, you could get a Nia Jax face turn, and she can come and align herself with Jade and put a fresh spin on that, and you get a tag team match out of those four.
Yeah.
And the moment we've all been waiting for, the WWE Undisputed Championship Street Fight, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, we've talked. We talked earlier about a possible heel turn. I've been reading scenarios where a double turn could very much happen in this match, where Cody walks away the heel, John the babyface. We've seen hints in the last few weeks where John has been portraying his babyface persona just a little bit more. I get a feeling that if Cody walks away with this one, and Cody's going to be my take to win it, he's going to do it the same way John Cena took the belt off of him.
Okay.
And we could very well see, like during that match, similar to what we saw between Bret Hart and Austin, where Bret just got a little bit more savage in that match. We could easily see that out of Cody, and we've already seen that when they did the contract signing just a couple weeks ago. So there's a strong possibility we see that in this match.
Parrish.
So crazy what 24 hours does. Because I did watch the impulsive interview with Drew McIntyre. And one of the big feuds Drew McIntyre wants to do is the story between him and Cody on how they have very similar paths. And do we know the big connection to The Rock and Drew McIntyre?
No.
Drew McIntyre was gifted a sword by The Rock when he re-signed with WWE, and then is now the face of a Rock-owned brand. So just what if John Cena loses to Cody Rhodes, and just when we think we're going to get the script flipped because John Cena admits he was wrong, he puts over Cody Rhodes, shakes his hand, hugs him. We don't see the look on him, but we get a look from Cody. Everybody assumes that, but what we end up seeing is the new person The Rock picks, and that is Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre is now Cody's number one rival. We keep Cody as a babyface champion, and now there's a completely new spin on this. And then now John Cena, who has done his part of passing the torch to Cody, can now focus on the next 4 months actually of his career in WWE, and do it without a Rock, do it without a Cody, and we can actually get John Cena as the babyface for the last third of this year.
I did have the double turn coming in this match, and again, it was the Cody sadism turning. I know it had been alluded to. Do we get him as becoming The Rock's new champion and protege here tonight, unlike he did at Elimination Chamber? Or do we get just that sadism and John Cena eventually just says, you know what, I've had enough. You know, after taking the beating, just falls down. Cody steals the win and runs off with the title, leaving Cena to ponder what might have been, garnering all that sympathy, gaining Cody that heat. We do know that, as you alluded to, Drew McIntyre was in for a push this year and to get that title. We also know that there's history with Drew and Cody as the dashing ones.
Chosen ones.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. I do think that I actually think that Cena does come out with the title. I think that if he is going to lose the title, he would lose it in his retirement match, but put that on a cash-in from Seth Rollins, even though Gunther is the guy reported right now to be the guy to face Cena in his final match. So give me Cena to retain.
And since that completes kind of our prediction thing,
It does.
should we let people know a little bit more about Turnbuckle
I think we should.
Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program? All right,
Let's
so,
do
We
it to it.
absolutely should.
so let's check out not only the calendar, but the Help Wanted ad.
Let's do it.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
As I'm sure OMD might be a little loopy after those videos, but check out turnbucklestudios.org right now. That is the homepage of Turnbuckle Studios and Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. You can get all your information there, and you can also email to see how you can be a part of our team. You're muted, OMD.
Gentlemen, we have about 25 minutes left, so let's touch on what we are going to see tonight on Raw. And we are going to see the Judgment Day versus the LWO for the Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be an amazing match.
Mhm.
This match has been earned by the LWO. I believe it's Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, who are representing the LWO. I have a strong feeling that LWO is just going to win this match. Whether it's hook by crook, I have a feeling we are going to get the LWO as your tag team champions. The only thing that absolutely would crush that, in my opinion, is if the WWE and Raw is going forward with a strong Judgment Day. But if I'm believed that we're going to see Dom and maybe Finn at some point clash over the leadership, if we're going to get any sort of resentment, whether it's from Liv to Raquel or to Roxanne or to Dom or to Finn, who knows, maybe she gets mad at JD, but I highly doubt it. Then I think we definitely put the seeds of possible implosion in place. I wouldn't hate it, but the LWO winning, I think this would just be meh, because now the LWO can be fighting babyface champions, and now all of a sudden the Raw has some depth, because you got the War Raiders, you got LWO, you got the New Day, you got the LWO, and within the last year they've all been tag team champions. Now let them cook at what they can do together.
Yeah, and as I stated last week, I feel like this is a way to showcase the depth of the tag team division that they are trying to build on Raw. And I'm also going to go off the fact that I'm going with LWO to take this one as well, because I'm thinking more along the lines of, remember when Zelina Vega challenged for the women's US title? We didn't expect her to win, and she walked away with the win.
Yep.
And WWE, to use a term from Big Brother, lately it's been expect the unexpected.
I know last week going into the match, I didn't see why the LWO was even in it because we hadn't seen them on TV in so long. They pulled off the surprise win there. Do they have a second one in them? I don't think they do. I think that Dom is going to get involved. I think Dom is going to cost them just to continue to egg his father on. We saw things over the weekend from Mexico. And I think that Dom getting into Triple Mania and, of course, having the Intercontinental Championship match, I think this is just going to build momentum for the Judgment Day, all for it to potentially start to crumble Sunday night when Dom loses the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay, but on the flip side, if Dom does interfere, who's to say that AJ Styles doesn't show up and stop him?
He could.
Or even El Vikingo shows up and stops him.
And
I think you guys need to look within the LWO, because what we know is official for AAA on the 16th is a 4-way, and that is Dom versus Vikingo versus El Grande Americano, who is super over, but also Dragon Lee, a member of the LWO.
Yep.
So even Dragon Lee has a vented interest in everything Dom Mysterio is doing. Very well could be a next challenger for that Intercontinental Championship if Dom retains. It makes a lot of sense if we see Judgment Day versus LWO.
But I do think that Dom is going to lose, like I said, next week. But I think that Dom at Triple Mania is going to walk out as the AAA Mega Champion. We have an 8-woman tag team match tonight as well, with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Becker, and Nikki Bella teaming up to take on Naomi, Chelsea Green, and the Secret Herbis.
Yeah, I really want to see Naomi kind of get the pinfall here and like really help her steam. I secretly would love to see WWE just say, hey, we have Naomi. Maybe she puts Io and Rhea in a tough spot, because I have a feeling this is a great time to have Io accidentally cost Rhea, or Rhea accidentally cost Io to eat the pin in this tag match. That way it creates a little bit of conflict, and now it doesn't look like a potential 2-on-1 on Naomi like it kind of was as she interfered in their match at Evolution and rightfully stole the title. So I would not hate if we see a little bit of tension between Io and Rhea here. Not to mention, I'd like to see a little bit of interaction with Nikki Bella and Chelsea, where maybe we have Team Nikki against Team Chelsea in the Secret Herbis in a 6-woman match down the road. And that very well could be Alexa Bliss and Charlotte if they won the tag titles.
Right. I just worry, and I know we haven't seen it in the build to this match. We've seen more unity. But if we go back to WrestleMania when it was Bianca with Rhea and Io was sort of getting shoved to the side as champion, are we pushing Naomi to the side, or are we, by developing this unity between Rhea and Io, or are we lighting a fire under Naomi?
Lighting a fire under Naomi, because what did I say about pushing Io aside? And Io took the win at WrestleMania. It could very well be the very same situation here. Very well be. Even though I did say I'm picking Rhea, this could very well be that same situation in that case.
Yeah, and that's why I go with Naomi getting the win in this tag match to really represent that not only can she win, she's proven that she is smarter than the other two. She just proves it again in this one. Does she have a third time up her sleeve? Because the message isn't she has to proceed with caution. It's everyone else in the division needs to proceed with caution. So this is why I'm Team Naomi for a good little bit right now.
Okay, and then we've got, lots of promos. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Gunther all set to appear tonight. We know that Roman is going to, whether he's confronting Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, whether he and Jay are going out and cutting a promo together. What do we expect from this stuff?
Physicality.
Yeah, 100% physicality in this.
Outside of a push from CM Punk to Gunther on Raw, we haven't really seen much physicality between the two. Now, that doesn't mean we can't get a heated in the ring segment, because we all know that the one thing Gunther can do is talk, and we know the one thing CM Punk can do is buy you in from talking. So this very well could happen, but give me one of those little brouhahas between the two, because now we've seen what these guys can do, and there is just something from I'm not backing down from you, Gunther, that really bleeds. I'm by this guy's side, because we all still view Gunther as this dominant force, and we all know CM Punk is too stubborn to back down. So this is a very interesting dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and do we get Roman Reigns and Jay together? Do we get Roman's just coming out and face-to-face with Heyman? Or do we get Roman and Braun in physicality?
Well, what you clearly don't know, or maybe you do have in there, but Jey Uso's taking on Bronson Reed tonight.
Yes.
So of course we're going to get them. Roman Reigns is in the building. We know Paul Heyman's in the building. We know Braun Breaker is following him on a leash because he's the big dog, right?
And it's an almost guarantee all four of those men are going to break down and brawl during Jay's match.
Breakdown. Nice one.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. With that being said, gentlemen, thank you for being here. We are going to get on out of here a little bit early tonight to go and get ready for the Raw Patrol coming up on the Turnbuckle Studios YouTube page at 8 p.m. Eastern. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, check out what we have going on here and let us know if you want to help us out.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos, games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. But gentlemen, starting with you, Mr. Best, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at my link tree, lanktr.ee/Chris_best83. You'll see this ugly mug next in about 15 minutes doing the Raw Patrol.
And you, Mr. Parrish.
Yeah, you can also check me out on my link tree at Chris Parrish. You can check me out every Sundays with the Chris Parrish podcast. Make sure to check out the next couple of months. We will have some interviews coming up in the month of August, so looking forward to that. So we have a lot in common, but you will see me in full color, living in color, live with the Raw Patrol.
And for myself, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at my link tree, linktr.ee/OMD show. And just like these two gentlemen, you can find me next with the Raw Patrol coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. Gentlemen, thank you once again so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you both here. And I will see you guys in about 15 minutes on Raw Patrol. From all of us here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program and the Locker Room Breakdown, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Defy